Hello, this is Noga Hallman, creator of UpsideDown Parenting, where parenting meets personal growth. And this is your Monday takeaway. And today's takeaway is 3 simple tips for using on the spot when you want to be fully present with your kids. Listen to this paradox. You are where your thoughts are. That means that I'm here, sitting on this chair, but only if my thoughts are also here with me. This idea was quoted left and right when I was growing up, and it was so true. The teacher or my mother would speak to me, and they didn't have a clue that in my mind I was actually upstairs in my room, reading a book and listening to music. It didn't really matter to them either, where my thoughts really were, as long as I was planted in my chair, making eye contact, having the right facial expressions, and oohing and eyeing in the right places when I was spoken to. In fact, later as a mother, I got so good at it that I could fool my kids into thinking that their stories from that day in kindergarten were the most interesting thing I've ever heard. My mind would wander to my plans for tomorrow, and I would think about all the things that I wanted to do after their bedtime. So many times, let me tell you, my children were practically talking to an empty chair while I was sitting on it. If you're anything like me and you can also perform this magic trick, I'm sure this is not a talent that you are proud of. Another truth that I learned about thoughts is that they have a life of their own. We have limited control over them, and that's why it is so easy for most of us to constantly get distracted. That explains why, even when I happily and willingly set aside time to be with my children, I can't seem to settle my mind enough to hear the stories they tell me, and I can't have conversations with them. It's as if my mind is playing tug of war with my heart's desire. If you're anything like me, you will love the mental exercise I'm about to share with you. I call it the chicken test. It helps me to be much more focused when I'm around my children and allows me to connect with them from a deeper place inside of me. And it only takes a few seconds. The idea for this mental exercise came to me from this short parable. There were 2 people who lived one next to the other, and each had a chicken coop in front of their house. One of the chickens constantly escaped and ran back and forth between the 2 front yards, and it went on for so long that neither of the neighbors remembered who the chicken belonged to in the first place, and they both claimed the chicken was theirs. After much arguing, one of them came up with an idea of how to figure out who owns the chicken. They decided that they would place the chicken in the middle of the 2 front yards, and whichever house the chicken ran to first is who it really belonged to. My mind is just like that chicken. It takes the liberty to pull me away from the present. At this moment, does it belong to my children and their needs? Or does my mind belong to my day job, my household chores, the book that I want to finish reading? Now, while any answer you give to the above questions is legitimate, I want to make sure that the chicken doesn't just take off without my consent. All of us are often overwhelmed by having to perform on so many fronts and having to switch between so many different hats. In the midst of it all, I know that you want to make sure to give your children your undivided attention and the presence that this relationship deserves. Okay, so let's assume that you've chosen to spend some time with the child in front of you. You'd like to be there both in your body and in your thoughts. So here are 3 simple things you can do so you won't get pulled away again. Use one or all of these 3 tips. Number 1, ask yourself, where's my chicken? Where is my chicken? Is it where I'd like it to be right now? Asking these questions bring to your awareness that you may not be where you consciously chose to be right now. And it has the power to bring your thoughts back to the child you want to spend time with. My second tip is, drop any physical distractions. This is so crucial in our time and age, where technological devices constantly demand our attention with their beeping, flashing, vibrating. So if you're surfing the web on your smartphone and you hear, "Hey mom, I want to tell you something," put the smartphone on the table or in your pocket. Whatever you do with it, make sure it's out of the way, not in your hands, until your daughter goes merrily on her way. If it's the dishes, turn off the water, put that plate down, and turn around to her. Or in my case, I let go of the broom which I'm attached to during all waking hours. Literally dropping anything you're doing helps you commit to the conversation with your child. Tip number 3, look into their eyes. I mean, lean forward towards them so that your eyes won't even think of wandering around. Bring yourself to their eye level if you need to. Sit in a chair. Imagine that if your child asked you at that moment, "Are we really together now, Mom?" you could answer with a very confident yes. Those are my tips. They've made all the difference for me and my relationship with my children. And now, I would love to hear from you. During what time of the day or of the week do you want to be reminded to be fully present with your children? When will asking yourself, "Where is my chicken?" make a difference for you? Please write your comments here below. If you were empowered and inspired by this video, make sure to go to UpsideDownParenting.com and leave your comment there now. Subscribe to our YouTube channel on the button next to the video, and share this video with other mothers in your family and in your community who would like to be fully present to their children. Don't miss out on any of our valuable parenting tips. Subscribe to our mailing list on UpsideDownParenting.com. It's totally free. And until next time, get curious about the parenting challenges that come your way, because they are your custom-made opportunities to step into the person that you want to be.